Matt Lenihan, Boxing Social, in association with Empire Fight Store. We're here, Gareth A. Davies. Gareth, as always, how are things, my friend? Big week coming up.
I'm very well, thank you, Matthew. Lifesaver. Enormous week coming up. And it really does feel like the big beginning of the boxing season 2024. It's like the new season's just about to kick off, and we're going to be back front and centre for the next week.
Yeah, big things to come this week coming up, starting from tomorrow. But we need to touch on what happened last night. Canelo Alvarez, a fight that was sort of heavily criticised in the build-up. There was a lot of factors going up against the UFC's first fight at the Sphere. All these other sort of surrounding topics. But Edgar Berlanga, although he didn't win, from what we could see, he proved to be a worthy opponent. He didn't come to survive, gave it his all, got knocked down, straight back up, carried on. But Canelo, too good.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head by saying a worthy opponent. He turned himself into a worthy opponent, kind of in the build-up. He talked with confidence. He said he was going to bring it, and he did bring it. And it brought out the best in Canelo. But unfortunately, the best Canelo was always going to beat him. I picked a landslide points victory or a late stoppage for Canelo. They had quite a decent scrap, but Canelo was always one step ahead. It's if you were to rank him in the kind of the recent 3 or 4 fights with Jamel Charlo and Jaime Munguia, he's probably up there somewhere near Caleb Plant's challenge to Canelo, where he forced him into engage and into engagement. But it just brought out the best in Canelo. When Canelo's face got a bit ruffled by Berlanga's punches, he just took it to him. When he knocked him down with a beautiful left hook from nowhere, a punch he didn't see coming, he punched his hands together as if to say, what can I do against this guy? But I think after that, he delivered a strong fight. But as the judges' card showed, Matthew, there was a powerful performance by Canelo, even though we knew all along that it was unlikely that Berlanga was going to beat him. Canelo needed to have a terrible night, and Berlanga needed to have an amazing night for there to be anything near parity.
One thing that looks seemingly clear from what I'd seen, I've seen pretty much the whole fight through in its in the extended highlights. Canelo is still very much an elite level operator. There's a lot of talk in the build up to these fights where people are like, oh, he's lost a step, this, that, and the other. But maybe in certain things you lose, he gains in other areas. Like he manages to pick his timing like so perfectly. Like with that left hook, he's seeing what's coming in. You know, seeing the giveaways, the telltale signs, and he's capitalising. And I know he hadn't had a knockout in, I think it was 5, 6 fights, people were saying, or however long it was. But he's had knockdowns, and it's testament to the likes of Jaime Munguia, who got back up, and Edgar Berlanga, who survived a bit of a storm and got back up. But he's still an elite level fighter, and now we need to see what he wants to do next. Talks, I think he said in the build-up he still wants a Bivol rematch, which is interesting. Everyone wants to see Benavidez. Outside of them two, where's the call? What is the option if we don't see one of them two next? Crawford?
I'm just adding to what you're saying there. What we've got to remember is Canelo has been in the game 19 years, since he was 15, 16 years old as a pro. He's still got an aptitude and an attitude that he wants to fight. He doesn't need to. He's extraordinarily wealthy. He's achieved so much. He's already a modern Mexican legend, and yet he still wants to keep going. So the performance he put in last night, he's 35 years old now. And it's not like it's just come lately for him. What was it, his 66th fight? I mean, it's an extraordinary record. So the big fights out there for him are, yes, Crawford, you can mention Crawford, Terence Crawford in the same breath, but it doesn't do a lot, I suppose, for Canelo, because we expect him to win that. He's much bigger physically heavier and bigger than Crawford. If it happens, great, but I think they've gone off the boil with that fight, or certainly His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh's gone off the boil. Like you say, the Bivol rematch is big, but I think we'll have to see what happens on October the 12th first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's more likely to fight Bivol again, maybe, than fight Beterbiev.
Benavidez. Oh yeah.
Beterbiev. I'd love to see Canelo fight Beterbiev, but I just don't think it's going to happen. He's too dangerous a fighter at 175, too powerful, I think, for Canelo to fight. He's learned his lessons from fighting light heavyweights. I mean, Sergei Kovalev was on the slide at the time when he fought him, and Bivol was too good and too big when he fought him. But I do think that if Bivol does win against Artur Beterbiev, he may well go for the rematch. I think David Benavidez is again. There's a mix of views. Some people say he doesn't have to fight Benavidez. He's given away too much size and weight, but I think he should fight him for his legacy. So, you know, we always ask what's next. It's the first thing we ask when a fight's over. So, as the Christmas lights go off on the Buddha behind me, but I just think there's those options, and maybe David Morrell. But there aren't major challenges. I need to pull up the world boxing rankings to have a look, but those are the ones that I'm fixed on for him. But we shall see. But what we need to do is celebrate who he is and what he is, because we don't do that enough.
I was going to say, like, when you look at that list of opponents, going back from in that run he had during the COVID times, where he was just, you know, literally lining them up one after the other. And a lot of these things in boxing, we see a lot of inactivity over the years, especially with the big stars, where maybe you get them, you know, once a year sometimes. And he's been consistently back out. You know the dates he fights. And obviously had that running COVID as well. And the list's incredible when you go down that list.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at the top 5 in the super middleweight world sanctioning bodies. Do we really want to see him fight Christian Mbili, Kevin Lele Sajo, Diego Pacheco, Osles Iglesias, Lester Martinez, Eric Bizanian? I'm not mentioning here Edgar Berlanga, Jaime Munguia, and Caleb Plant, who he has fought. William Skull, Vladimir Shishkin, Christian Mbili again, Diego Pacheco, Sajo again.
Yeah, I think from everybody's wish list, like obviously the Benavidez one sits at the top of the list, and I think it will do regardless. But moving away from him, I don't think anyone begrudges a rematch, providing Bivol got through Beterbiev. I think people would be like, you know, more than fair enough. That's a well-matched fight.
If Chris Eubank looks brilliant against Zarameta, his Polish opponent, in October, I could see that being a big fight.
Is that a big fight in
the UK, for example? I mean, that would be enormous. Canelo versus Eubank in a Riyadh season event would be enormous, because a big audience would watch that. Yeah, good point. Just moving away from obviously the Canelo situation, we've obviously got this week coming up one hell of a card. It's going to be a historic week for boxing. You know, as Riyadh season, you know, makes its footprint in the UK big time at Wembley. Joshua-Dubois, obviously the main event, stacked card, a fight that sadly obviously had to be, you know, cancelled. Everyone's sort of thrown the names into the hat as well to get on this card as a replacement for Liam Smith and for Josh Kelly. But it looks like there's no movement in a replacement now. Yeah, I mean, the sad thing is that was an extraordinary. I'm using extraordinary a lot, but it was a very exciting fight to look forward to, that one.
Yeah,
because we hadn't had Kelly fight at middleweight. Liam Smith's 36, and he's had a great career, and he's fought some extraordinary names. And he's fought, you know, he's been a world champion at light middle. He's fought some great fights at middleweight. You know, he's fought Canelo, he's fought Jaime Munguia, he's fought Chris Eubank Jr. twice. Um, and it was really interesting to see what Josh Kelly could do against a guy who's still got something left, who's still got a lot of desire, who's very rugged. And Josh Kelly is not the biggest puncher in the world, stepping up another weight division to middleweight, very comfortable and happy about the idea of it, a very elusive fighter. And there was something very exciting about the matchup of those styles. It was a very clever matchup. And it is really disappointing it's not happening. And I imagine Josh Kelly is so disappointed he can't face taking another opponent and doesn't want to at this stage in his career. And Adam Booth will have been seminal in that decision as well. But like you say, we would have, I imagine, have heard an opponent by now. So it just reduces the card to 6 fights.
It does, and I mean when the fights were obviously made and the 6 fights were there, you're looking at everyone. I mean, just take away the main event. You Josh Kelly, Liam Smith, Tyler getting my words out. Tyler Dennett, Hamza Shiraz, Kakachi Warrington, and Buatsi Willie Hutchinson. Even like Chamberlain, Josh Padley, who Padley's come in there to cause a major upset. There's intrigue, I think, in every single fight. And they're brilliantly matched up. It's such a shame that one's fallen by the wayside.
No, it's a tragedy. Because there was a balance to the entire card. So it does take something away from this card. I mean, Chamberlain Padley, the storyline obviously is always that, Chamberlain is His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh's favourite fighter. Yeah. So Padley is the away fighter no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Willie Hutchinson and Joshua-Dubois, really looking forward to it. Can Joshua-Dubois get stretched by Willie Hutchinson? We shall see. I think Craig Richards was one thing. I think Joshua-Dubois might be another thing. But I'm still expecting a high stakes encounter that's going to be very, very thrilling. We know that Buatsi doesn't like Hutchinson, that he's turned off by him. There's something about him he doesn't like now. So there's all of that intrigue to play out as well. Anthony Kakachi, Josh Warrington, I think that's going to be a million miles an hour, that fight.
That's such a good fight.
Yeah, it is. It's a million miles an hour. They're going to deliver. They're going to bring a lot of heat to each other. I favour Kakachi in that fight, but I could be wrong. Warrington at super featherweight might be stronger, and there could be one really big, dangerous dance left in him. I think obviously I don't want to go to the main event yet. I'm trying to remember the other.
Tyler Denny and Hamza Shiraz.
Tyler Denny, storyline, narrative on this one. The opportunity that Tyler Denny's got. Look where he was a year ago. It's extraordinary. This is a guy, surviving. I think he's a plumber, isn't he? And he's a worker, looking after his family. But look at the fairy tale in this story, and then the resonance and growth that Hamza Shiraz has as a star. And I think then we're on to the main event, aren't we? So
yeah, exciting.
So it's going to be, it's going to go 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, boom, Oasis, music, stars there, and then bang, the main event, and those two big boys are going to walk. And, it's a world title fight. It's Daniel Dubois. It's Anthony Joshua, who knows how to deal with big occasions, who's been through it and come through it, knows how to deal with it in the UK. Daniel Dubois hasn't done that yet. They're both dangerous for each other in lots of different ways. And again, that could be a slumbering fight for maybe 3 to 6 minutes, and then it's just going to explode. Someone's going to light the fire under those two at some point. The corners might, and it will just kick off.
Just quickly, just to finish up on Dubois Joshua. Obviously, it's an extraordinary journey for both, really. But I think more in the case of maybe Dubois, if going into this, obviously Joshua's favourite, and naturally as we get closer, the intrigue builds and the odds slowly start getting closer together, which naturally happens from like 9 or 10 weeks out, where everyone's like one wins and definitely loses. How big of a surprise or how shocked would you be to see Daniel Dubois beat Anthony Joshua?
It wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world, because I think what he's got to do is catch Joshua and capitalise. Don Charles is a great coach, mentally and psychologically. Daniel Dubois has had the faith of his father, Frank Warren, and his coach, and I think Don is his trainer, is the best one he's had for him for some time now. Obviously, Don has joined them latterly, but Dubois knows that he's capable of coming through a storm and hurting someone. He did it against Hrgovic. He almost did it against Usyk. He did it against Jarrell Miller, who's very hard to get rid of. Andy Ruiz couldn't get rid of him the other day, and he ended up with a draw. But I thought Jarrell Miller won that as well, by the way, in Los Angeles. But so all the background self-belief should be there for him. And physically, he's got the power to do the job. So I wouldn't be completely shocked for Dubois to win, but it's a really tough, and I don't think it goes 12 rounds, but you can be wrong on these occasions. I think one stops the other, but one way or the other. But it's a very tough fight. If Anthony Joshua gets stopped by Daniel Dubois, yes, there are still fights for him out there, but it's a really tough comeback. All the pressure is on Anthony Joshua to win this fight in terms of externally what people want. And you know, most people externally want to see, or a lot of people want to see Joshua against Fury. We know that that's what the promoters would like to see. Frank Warren's not bothered, by the way. He wants his guy Daniel Dubois to win. As he said to me a couple of days ago, even if Joshua loses, he's still got loads of fights out there. He can still fight Tyson Fury. Of course he's going to say that, but I wouldn't be completely shocked to see it. But I do see Joshua as the favourite.
That's fair. Well, look, it's going to be a long week. It starts tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you out and about. I know you'll be doing your bits for TalkSport and everybody else.
The Telegraph.
Within the Telegraph. We will catch up on fight night, and I'll come and we'll have a chat. But yeah, thank you for jumping.
Yeah, I'm doing the broadcast for TalkSport with Spencer Oliver, John Rawling, and Adam Catterall. It's going to be a really busy night and a really busy week. And it's not out there. I don't think it's been put out there yet about where all the events are all week.
Not yet.
No, it's not yet. And we're all keeping quiet about it out of respect for them. No one's broken it yet, but it's going to be a fascinating week.
Sure, it's Gareth Davies. Appreciate your time. We'll catch up as usual pretty soon, I imagine.
Always a pleasure, Lifesaver. Thank you very much.
Anytime.